You guys have already seen me cover Ultimate Spider-Man, big fucking success compared to Amazing Spider-Man. Well, as of now, I am reading that comic, and the only hook that keeps you going is that Amazing Spider-Man has some pretty interesting stuff happening around Peter. That's about it, right? I don't like how they did my boy Chasm and all this that, but we're not here. We're not here to talk about Amazing or Ultimate Spider-Man. We're here to talk about the Ultimates. So let's fucking do that already, right? Now, before we actually talk about the actual comic, we have to talk about how all this shit came to be because the negative Riz Lord himself, the Maker, escaped containment and began trying to create a machine that he uses to time travel back in time to create his perfect world, a 6160. Universe 6160 is a variant of 616 that the Maker just goes ahead and does whatever the fuck he wants in it, right? All this happens in the comic Ultimate Invasion. Just before he did leave to the other universe, he invites Miles to come to the new Ultimate Universe where Miles declines because, you know, he has all his hoes in this one right now and the other one doesn't exist. So he takes priorities over that one. But anyways, a lot of Ultimate Invasion involves the setup for the Ultimates and, you know, the other Ultimate comics as well, with the Maker being the main cause for villains and heroes who, you know, just don't exist or work for him or whatever, right? The Maker would also put together a council that you would find interesting. Captain Britain, Black King, Hulk, just fucking somehow, right? I mean, whatever, right? If he got to him before anything happened, right? Khonshu, Raw, their drip, immaculate, like I said in the Black Panther, in the Ultimate Black Panther comic video. Peter Rasputin, Ileana Rasputin, you know, of course. Magic, and my boy Colossus, Arkady Rosevich, which is, you know, Omega Red, Silver Samurai, Sun Emperor, and Viper, right? They have their own sections of the world that they kind of govern. Like we know Raw and Khonshu are warring with Black Panther. Silver Samurai is probably dealing with the X-Men in their comic, while in the Ultimates, we do see Hulk and other members of this council too, right? It's all interesting stuff. The Ultimates comic follows the events of the Ultimate Invasion, where Howard Stark locks the Maker in his own facility, while Tony teams up with Doom, who in this whole universe, timeline, whatever, is Reed Richards, because the Maker said the world will always need a Doom, so he grabbed himself, and just said, hey, you're gonna be my Doom now. And, you know, just completely just tortured him and just made life hell for him. Even before he grabbed him and tortured him, he basically just sabotaged all his plans and had the Fantastic Four die in some way. Crazy shit. And with this, Tony would try his best to recreate the heroes that were erased, but only really had success with Spider-Man the first time around. Clint quit, and Captain Marvel apparently blew up accidentally by her own power. Yeah, crazy ass shit. But Tony would free Thor from his captivity, but his jailer, I forget her name, is coming with and, you know, agrees with everything Tony and Thor have been feeling, but, you know, that's her job to keep an eye on Thor. So I guess he was imprisoned after the Maker helps Loki take over Asgard and the 9 realms, which is just crazy shit. And Tony also gets Cap and frees him from the ice. Not without, I think, pretty much getting punched in the face and stopping Cap from, you know, trying to kill everybody. But through the comic, Tony and the Ultimates try to recruit heroes, like in the first issue, where, you know, they introduced Hank and Janet, where apparently Hank, to prevent him from becoming a great scientist, the Maker gave him a brain injury. This wouldn't stop Hank or Janet from becoming heroes and joining the Ultimates in battle against the Council, who showed up trying to take down the quote-unquote terrorists. So, yeah, just so much fun. So much fun. It's very interesting stuff, I will say, seeing what the Maker has done to sort of pivot a lot of the heroes' futures into one that's of being normal compared to their 616 counterpart, right? The second issue involves the Ultimates heading towards the White House, and it's really heavy on Steve, who has to learn decades of history and what the Maker has made of the United States. I don't even think it's a country anymore because of what the Maker has done. It's crazy ass shit. We do see a cool panel with Iron Man, War Machine against Omega Red, and a 70s Punisher, who later on in the comic we see the classic Punisher symbol being used by a group that Steve, you know, is very familiar with, if you understand, what I'm getting at. Bravo. They fight this dude called Midas, right? Not Mundus, Midas. I almost fucking fucked that up. And it caused them to see what sort of energy source the White House has been using for, tons of Americans out there, right? And that's where they discover America Chavez with the team literally saving America. Yeah, a little bit on the nose, but it was still a fun issue, especially with that 70s Frank. That Summer of Frank issue goes fucking hard. I'm not gonna lie. I need them to go ahead and make an issue like that, specifically like a one shot, something, because that would be fucking sick. The next issue focuses on the Hulk, pretty much just how Banner detonated a gamma bomb that had many casualties on the Pacific Islands nearby, but completely fucked everything up from nature to the people. And if you didn't die, then I feel fucking sorry for you. That shit fucking sucks. Cause the issue speaks for itself with how fucked up the bomb made the Pacific Islanders. Like, Jesus, man, like look at it, man. Look at it. Like, the Ultimates arrive wanting to see if they can find warriors to join the cause, but they can only find fucking victims with one person, Leori Zakaria. I hope I said that right. Answering the call, but only in specific instances, right? The fourth issue is pretty much just an origin story for Doom, since he is actually this world's Reed Richards. The maker had to do some adjusting the best way he knows how by fucking things up, right? He messed with the trajectory and launched to miss the cosmic storm, caused malfunctions in the ship that caused the death of Johnny. Sue gets cancer, and the prideful Ben Grimm commits suicide after being disgraced as a pilot, which is, Jesus Christ, is crazy fucking shit. The maker would kidnap Reed and force him to play the role of Doom and be his assistant by torturing him and forcefully making him admit that he is Doom now, which is, Christ. What the fuck? Issue 5 is pretty simple. Tony realizes someone has taken Clint's suit, bow, and arrows and is targeting Roxxon facilities. Tony is worried this person will do wrong, will of course, do some wrong shit with the tech he created, trying to create a hero, and ask Captain America to look into it. And of course, Steve sort of, pushes back, like, I don't know if that's necessary. He looks to be doing good. But he did Tony a solid because he was worried about it. And in the end, And in the end, Steve sees the merit of letting Charlie Ramsey, the new Hawkeye, keep the gear, and he would join the Ultimates when the time comes for missions. So that issue was pretty cool, with Charlie fighting Cap, who underestimated the gear, and Cap was just talking shit. He was just talking a little bit of crap, and he got a taste of what those arrows can do, and he just looked at it like, you know what, fair. The sixth issue is where shit really hits the fan. Apparently, they got an antique droid that killed the H-Man himself. That is the Human Torch of this verse. So yeah, that was kind of nuts. What was also crazy is that the Ultimates being pulled into a trap and getting their fucking ass beat by the Hulk, who not only is the fucking Hulk, but he stole Iron Fist. I can't speak. He stole Iron Fist's whole flow and made it even more powerful Iron Fist by calling it the Atomic Iron Fist and making it just so fucking busted. It's crazy. The Ultimates were getting their fucking shit rocked by Gamma empowered members of this Immortal Weapons group that Bruce has here, and it's just, man, they got their fucking ass beat. One of them actually tried eating Janet, and Christ, not again. But Janet is fine. Like, she's okay. I promise you, she's okay. I don't know whether they're gonna try to do it again, because it always fucking happens, man. Everyone escapes, all right, but Tony, who is in critical condition, this is where he sort of gets, like, I guess his super heart or whatever, right? Which will eventually happen later on when he gets connected to, I honestly forget what it's called, but he's getting a much needed upgrade. The seventh issue is a bit of a filler. It just shows what everyone is doing, about to do, and so on. It's really just one of the more weaker issues in the whole comic series, because it just helps move along what everyone is doing, right? and how they're helping the world and how they're trying to change things. Cool stuff. The 8th issue shows us how America is actually part of the future Guardians of the Galaxy, how they know the Maker wins in the end, and how it's no use trying to fight back against them. But, America still wants to fight. And of course, hold on. Side note, when Captain Marvel of the future was explaining how fucked the end of the universe was, she mentions how Planet Hulk, with billions of descendants of the Hulk, of Bruce, trying to stop the collapsing of the reality with their bare hands. When I heard that, I thought, that's pretty fucking metal. I'm not gonna fucking lie. I need a one shot of that shit right there, of the universe dying and the main focus is the Hulks fighting back against it. Would it be so fucking sick? It would have been so fucking cool. The next issue focuses a lot on Luke Cage's origin, which, it perked my ears because I love Luke Cage, and how Tony gives him gives him his unbreakable body, where he uses it to, take over the prison that had him caged up for a couple years. But, he looks cool. He got the afro, he got the chains on his forearms. Cool ass shit, right? Issue 10 is probably the most interesting issue in a while, where it opens with the Human Torch reminiscing on killing the H-Man, and he really is giving me Tin Man vibes, and that's all I'm gonna say. The team in this issue is Cap, Hawkeye, Torch, Ant-Man, and Wasp, of course, right? And they raid a Red Skull militia stronghold, and this is the same sort of, group that is using the Punisher logo as their logo, because of course we can't have fucking nice things, right? The team fights the militia. Tony's hooked up to where he can spectate everything. It's that same machine that gives him a super heart and gives him that much needed upgrade. They also added a panel where the Nazis that word, all right. Well, they also added a panel where Namor, Cap, Buck, and the Human Torch are fighting the Nazis, of course. And I thought it was pretty neat. I was looking at it like, where the fuck has this Namor been? He probably was still a little bit of an asshole, but him helping Cap, Buck, and Human Torch, that's pretty goddamn cool. But they had this man. Apparently he was killed by his brother or some shit, of course, with the help of the Maker, because he was king of the seas. But his body doesn't decompose. And at some point, they just, this group went ahead and got his body and hooked his ass on a goddamn wall, which is crazy. And then we see, the Red Skull leader, or the leader of this specific, group of Red Skull militia people, whatever, right? Crazy ass shit, dude. And we even see John Walker, a fucking unit of a man that comes out to fight everyone, given a whole introduction just to get his fucking face burnt off by Torch, who was not playing any goddamn games with these goddamn people. He was really not. And then after that, they confront the leader, and I don't know if he teleported away or burned himself alive, but it kind of is revealed that this leader was Bucky from, Torch's scans of his voice. Since Buck isn't the Winter Soldier, they made the Winter Soldier Wolverine. I guess they made him the new Red Skull, or this iteration of the Red Skull. And next is the last issue that I'm going to talk about, is issue 11. And it basically just covers Sylph. That's his, that's Thor's, a jailer or, guard or whatever, right? And, Sylph and Thor is, I can't speak. They go back to Asgard, freeing and creating alliances with the main races and important figures of the Nine Realms to overthrow Loki. And the war begins, right? Not sure if they will be making an Ultimate Thor comic now with this war going on. Maybe not, since Loki, who is now aging and will die soon, probably. But it will be pretty goddamn neat to see Thor take over and him fighting everything on his side of things with a whole Nine Realms on his side. And, that could have been cool. And I'm sure the Maker probably has some plans, and will probably have somebody from the council come over and try to fuck some shit up, right? I can see that, right? It's the fucking Maker, of course. Overall, I think the Ultimates is a great read so far. It's definitely more of a paver to introduce more interesting stuff. Some of the events passively told in the series is, pretty goddamn sick to hear and see panels of. I'd absolutely love a comic of Ultimate Cap and his team fighting the original Red Skull and taking him out. Again, a one-shot of the future universe ending. I need to see a comic with the 70s Punisher, like, you know, detailing what happened in the summer of Frank. God, that sounds fucking hard. That's fucking great. I honestly need to see Hulk's rise from being a hulked out Bruce Banner to being an Iron Fist wielding Hulk fucking bastard, right? That sounds cool, right? Like it sounds something that you would see in Elseverse type shit, right? But you know, here I think that if they really get into it and make it interesting, you know, it will probably be a more memorable Hulk than, you know, I guess recently, right? Especially if they add it to Marvel Rivals, people will go crazy like, what the fuck's going on here? I need to see him punch that goddamn dragon in the heart myself, right? I think the Ultimates comic has some really good stuff here. We'll love to see more, and with the Ultimate Incursion coming up, it's going to be pretty goddamn cool to see the 616 heroes showing up when even more shit hits the fan, and they all try to, you know, defeat the Maker and his forces. And with that being said, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think of the Ultimate so far? I think it's a really fun, interesting comic with so much promise. I'll look into Ultimate Wolverine and X-Men and tell you guys about it soon. I think the next video about, you know, comics in general will probably be the Amazing Spider-Man comic. I think that came out from 2022 to now, right? That's what I'm going to review and, you know, talk about. And, you know, I've already read it right now, the entire thing to issue 70. You know, I enjoyed myself to an extent, but dear God, that's all I'm going to say, right? Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. See you guys next time. Peace.